Hey there, fellow young musicians around the world. Steve here. And today I woke up with the idea in my head that it might be useful to all of you if I did something a little bit different and I talked to everybody about how you could make money with music and avenues you could take. So today I'm going to do that, and hopefully it'll be of use to all of you. And so right now, just think of me as your crazy musician uncle, Steve-O, and I'm going to talk to you straight and give you real numbers about what kind of money you can make. First off, if you have a love for music and singing or playing an instrument, consider yourself lucky because there's millions of people around the world that never find a passion, and they go through life doing things that they don't want to do. If you live in Birmingham, Alabama, or Birmingham, England, just walk outside and take a look around, and you're going to see a whole bunch of people doing jobs that they don't want to do out of necessity. And sometimes we got to do jobs out of necessity. I mean, I've had the greatest job in the world of being a musician and making money that way, and I've had the worst possible jobs you could think of. So sometimes you do things out of necessity. But if you have a passion for music, consider yourself lucky and don't take it for granted. Now, what I'm going to tell you is pretty universal around the world, so wherever you are, you could take this advice to heart. And chances are, if you're a young girl or guy getting involved with music, you might not have people around you that are older that can tell you what to do. You're probably in a circle of young people and you're all scratching your head trying to figure out and make your way just like everybody else does. But today, hopefully, I could, get you through a little bit of that. Now, if you're young and you're still in high school, that's a good spot to be. Get yourself involved with music and pay attention now because time goes quick. And right now, you have avenues you could take. Friends of mine that I went to high school with, they took the path of going to college. I got a guy named Howie involved with playing bass, and he became a phenomenal bass player, great jazz bass player. He's out in Philadelphia, I think. Another guy I went to high school, Dave. He was he was one of these natural players that can just play, but he hated school. So he dropped out of high school, but he went to get his GED or equivalency diploma at night. And then he went to college and he became a middle school music teacher, which is a good thing. I mean, depending where you are in the world, if you work for the public school system, you can make anywhere from $35,000 to $75,000 a year teaching music to kids in the public school system. I also had another guy that I went to high school with named Kirk, and he went to college afterwards. And you could see him on the Jimmy Fallon show every weeknight playing guitar. He's in the band The Roots. These are all guys I knew from high school. So once you get involved with music, it usually sticks with you. You're usually stuck with it. Me, I wasn't a guy that liked high school. As a matter of fact, in my senior year, I was absent 42 days, but my grades were good, so they didn't toss me out. And when I got out of high school, I started playing the bars and clubs and writing songs and recording songs and doing crazy stuff, spitting fire on stage, trying to be the showman and stuff like that. And it was cool, but it's a harder path to take. Where those guys had a straight shot, a straight plan, I kind of went off in a crazy direction. And that's all right. I don't have any regrets doing that. But if music is your passion, it's a good thing. I mean, take advantage of it. And if, a little bit down the road you decide you find another passion, if like nursing is your passion or being an auto mechanic is your passion, that's great. But the thing is to have a passion in life because it'll make life a lot better and a lot easier if you get paid to do what you like. All right, well, it goes without saying, no matter what you do in life, if you want to succeed, you have to be good. And if you want to get involved with music, you have to be good. So that means getting a teacher to teach you how to play and listening to all styles of music and just getting good. You can't fake good in life, you know, so that's, you know, lesson number one. And lesson number two, I use a saying from my friend Ron Coleman, who I played with. Ron got a record contract when he was 16 years old back in like 1957 or something like that. And he had his glory days when he was 16 years old. He had a record on Apollo Records that did well, and then, you know, life happens and he went off, but he's still in his 70s doing music. But anyhow, what Ron says is you're responsible for the effort. You might not get the outcome you want, but you're responsible for the effort. So everybody out there, you have to make the effort to make it happen. Nobody's going to hand anything to you. So you got to get good, and then you got to get out there and pound the pavement and let people know you're alive. And fortunately for all of you that are youngsters, you were pretty much born with a smartphone in your hand. So you have technology that I didn't when I was a kid. So use the technology. Let people know you're out there. Let people know you're a musician. Get yourself a website. You know, it's not hard to do, because a website is going to be your musical resume. You know, if you look at GoDaddy or WebStarts, you could get a website for about $100 a year, which is a tax write-off anyway. You don't have to worry about any of that now, but it's a tax write-off. And you put pictures of gigs you've done. Very important to get video. So as you're going through life and as you're playing with different bands, get yourself video of yourself playing, because people want to see you play. You want to get a gig, you know, you're not just, very few people can talk their way into getting a gig sight unseen. People want to see it nowadays. So get yourself a website. When you're doing shows, have somebody in the audience shooting video, and I can tell you it works, because it's worked for me, and it's important to have. So you got to let people know you're alive. You got to let people know that you're out there, and you got to let people know that you're looking for work, and you got to hustle work up. So there are ways of doing it. You know, you have all the social media. Use the social media to your advantage. Use things like Craigslist. Now, inevitably, anywhere in the world, on any city in the, well, not anywhere in the world, let me say any city in the United States, you're going to see some knucklehead that goes on a rant on Craigslist saying, oh, all you people on Craigslist suck, you don't get back to me, and I'm through with Craigslist. Well, the person that wrote that is a moron. And there's a lot of morons out there, let me be honest with you, because Craigslist does work, you know, and there's a way to write a Craigslist ad. Doing an I got a gig doing an Elvis tribute through Craigslist, and from there I went on to do doo-wop shows because of that. And when I sold my house in Pennsylvania and came down to Florida, I put an ad on Craigslist, and I had a gig in a week, and I was playing on the beaches, you know, and that with the website, that helped me get jobs. So it does work. But there is a way to go about placing an ad. You know, I could get on Craigslist right now, and I guarantee you I will find some maniac that typed an essay about 2 pages long about what they want and what they don't want. And it's nobody, if you see an ad like that, you're not going to get past the first paragraph. You know, you're just going to be labeled a maniac. So what you need to do is be direct in what you're looking for. If you're a singer, say, I'm a singer, I have this range, here's video of me, I'm looking to work in this particular area. You know, if you're interested, send me video back of what you do. You know, don't waste your time getting with people unless they have video, because I've wasted a lot of time getting together with people in the past, years and years ago when I was coming up, and you just find out that they're a waste of time. And you don't want to waste people's time. I mean, so when you write an ad, you know, be direct and short, simple, and sweet. Say what you do, what you're looking for, your contact info, and some video of yourself always helps. That will help you get work. Now, as I said, I've had friends that became teachers, which is a great way to go, and it's very stable and, you know, more guaranteed than doing what I did. But no matter where you are in the world, you can get a gig at a bar playing in a band, you know, anywhere. You know, I was up in Bushkill Falls in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and I was making money playing in a band at a bar. Um, of course, you have to hustle the jobs, and where you live depends on how much work you're going to get. Now, if you're in the middle of nowhere, you know, chances are you'll get a gig here and there. But my advice would be to be where the action is. You know, now down here in Florida, and this is also where Craigslist can come in handy, because you could, from the comfort of your own home, you could get on Craigslist and type in a city, you know, pick a city, and go to the musician classifieds and see how many there are. You know, so if you look in South Florida, if you go to Craigslist and you look in South Florida or Tampa, you're going to see a whole bunch of ads for musicians. And if you type in LA, there's going to be a whole list of musicians looking to do things and jobs and stuff like that. Now, if you're in, you know, Billings, Montana, and you click on the Craigslist in Billings, Montana, maybe you get one person looking to do something. So it is location, location, location. If you want to work, you got to be where the work is. And this is the entertainment business. So like in Florida, I could do what I couldn't do in Pennsylvania. You know, I did have a lot of work in Pennsylvania, but it wasn't enough to do full time. So that's why I came down here. Now, I don't know if I'll stay down here forever, but right now it's working for me. And you could work, it could work for you as well. Now let's talk money. I'll tell you what I make right now. On a good night, you know, playing in a cover band, I could make about $190 for 3 hours work, you know. Now that's just 3 hours of playing. You know, you're there for a little while setting up when you get there and breaking down. But on a good night, about $190. Now on a bad night, $100. You know, it all depends on what band you're playing with, how many members are in the band, and what you can get from the venue that you're doing. So that's about the going rate. Now, and that's the same when I was playing in Pennsylvania. Now there are ways to you know, play cover songs and make more money, because if you could do a tribute band, if you get yourself involved in a tribute band and it's a really, really good tribute band, you can make a lot of money. You know, you could walk away with $1,000 a gig for yourself, you know, depending on the band. Now, if you look at a band like, there's some bands out there that I've seen that do tributes. If you look at the band Rain, which is a Beatles tribute, that's a national production. And they have places, I think in California and New York and Florida that they do, and they go on tour and stuff like that. And they make a lot of money. And it's the same, you know, there's other bands that are like really good, like Tusk, which is a Fleetwood Mac tribute. And I got friends doing a CCR tribute, and they go around and they're making about $1,000 a guy per show. You know, so that's, but you know, you got to remember, you got to do the work. You got to do the rehearsals, and you know, you're not getting paid for rehearsals necessarily. And you got to learn the material, and then you got to go out and do it. And sometimes it's feast or famine. Sometimes you got a lot of work. Sometimes you got to do a little work. But going back to what I said, you have to make the effort, and you have to hustle the work. Now let's talk about doing original music. Now, original music was my original love. That's what when I was out of high school, I was in recording studios and sending my demos to record companies and publishers and things like that. Had a little bit of success here and there, and every now and then I get a royalty check in the mail. So how do you go about doing that? Well, first off, what I would say is if you're good with production and recording and writing songs, that would be an advantage. Because you could go on the internet right now when you're done watching this video and type in like music libraries or music publishers, and you're gonna get a whole bunch of things that come up. Some off the top of my head, you could look at Jingle Punks, Getty Music, Pump Audio, Smash Tracks, things of that nature. And some of these places will accept unsolicited material. So, but what they're looking for is they're looking for really clean recordings, current sounds, you know. And, then, and as an experiment, oh, hold on one second. That's not important. This is more important. Um, so, as an experiment, when you get done watching this video, just turn on the TV, and you're going to hear all sorts of background music on whatever show you're watching. You might be watching a football game, you might be watching a sitcom, a commercial. There's music in the background. And these commercials and TV shows, they get music from publishers and libraries. So that's a way you can make music, make money making your own music. Um, but they want clean recordings. You know, they don't want to remaster anything. So if you're good with production, and you can go to school for production, you can learn it on your own, however it works. Record some good songs and have the production clean and radio ready, as they say. And you could send it out to these people, and they might give you a deal. You know, you might get a contract, and you might make some money on it. And there are people out there that are making a lot of money, and that's all that they do. So that might be for you, you know. So there's different avenues you could take. You could be a teacher. You could go out and play bars and weddings and clubs and cruise ships. You could write your own music. You could, you know, supply music for radio and TV and internet. You know, you can make money off the internet doing that. And even like what we're doing right now, YouTube. You can make money on YouTube. I make money on YouTube. And there are people making $10,000 a month just off of YouTube. But again, you have to make the effort and you have to do the work. You know, and to make money on YouTube, there's a criteria. You have to have, I think, 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have maybe 14,000 minutes viewed each month or something like that. They changed the criteria. But I've been making money on YouTube for a long time now, and you know, I do all sorts of videos. I mean, I do gear reviews and music lessons and home improvements. You know, so you can do whatever you want to do, and that's another thing. You know, if you're a musician and you make a career out of it, great. But don't be afraid to do other things, because there's a whole world out there, and you want to try everything, and you want to, you know, get involved with things. You don't want to be just don't label yourself just one thing. Be everything that you could be. You know, you could be anything you want. You could succeed. You just have to make the effort and have the wherewithal to do it. And what other advice do I have for you? Okay, getting involved with other people. Inevitably, if you're a solo person, if you could sing and play acoustic guitar, you could come down to Florida and you could probably make like $150, $200 a gig for yourself. You know, if that's your thing and that's what you like to do, you could do that. But, you know, if you want to be in a band and you want to be a part of a team, you know, inevitably, as I said, you're going to have to advertise yourself, get your name out there, and get involved with people. Now, you have to develop an intuition with people. You gotta learn, you gotta get a radar. You know, I have excellent radar. And you have to find out if you're wasting time with people. You know, sometimes you get involved with people and you don't want to be in the basement rehearsing for 6 months without any gigs. You know, you have to read people's intentions and see if they're people that are going to help you get to where you want to be, or if they're just going to be baggage that you don't need. And you do that just by being around people and listening to what they say and watching their actions. Very important, because you don't want to waste time, you know, and you have to know when to cut your losses, you know, because it's a team effort. You have to have people that you can rely on that are going to show up to the gigs. They're going to show up on time. They're going to learn the material, you know, because, you know, you're only as strong as your weakest link when you're in a band. So remember that. And, you know, let's talk about, like, you know, you see all these documentaries about bands and the craziness and the drugs and all that shit. And let me tell you something. In my world, if you get fucked up on drugs, you get fired. That's just the way it goes. I mean, it might when you're young, I know there's like you're impressionable and you're like, oh wow, that looks great and stuff like that. But in my world, if you get fucked up and you do drugs, you get fired, and then you're out of paycheck and you're out of band. So, you might come across it, being that you're youthful and, you see all these documentaries about bands that lived a crazy lifestyle in the 80s. And, these bands had great success, but, they were good, but a lot of them are dead now. So my advice to you is avoid all that stuff. You don't need to be bothered with that. Stick to the game plan, stick to doing music, and stick to being good. Now, let me see if there's any other advice I got for you. Pretty good so far. I think I gave you some pretty good advice. Let me think. All right. Another thing is don't limit yourself to the type of music you play. The more well-rounded you are, the more opportunities you will have. So don't try to be too snobbish with music. If you are a death metal, heavy metal guitar player, fantastic, be the best you could be. But also know how to play the blues, and take it from me. I was, obviously I got the long hair and the headband, I'm a rocker, yeah, rock and roll. But I also went out and did Elvis shows, which were a blast, made me a better player, and doo-wop shows, and doing these oldies doo-wop shows that were 3 hours long. I got to play with some great players, and I'd make anywhere from $250 to $400 a gig for 3 hours. So don't limit yourself. You could do, and music is music. So do it all. Allow yourself to do it all. And a lot of times people get in their own way. Don't be your own problem. Be positive, be open-minded, and try to play everything, and you'll have more success. And when you get involved in a situation, try to be an asset to that situation. I've played in bands that I got involved with, and when I first got involved with them, as I said, you have to assess the situation. And there were situations where I assessed a couple of bands, and I'm like, they're not too good. There's things that are wrong here that I could hear. But they were cool people, so I stuck around. And with my tutelage, I made the bands better, and to the point where we're doing really good gigs and making good money. So I didn't give up on the situation. So when I said before, you got to know when to cut loose when somebody's just baggage and it's no good. It's also the other way around too. If a situation is not like slamming and fantastic as soon as you get in, use your intuition and see if you give it a little time if it'll grow into something. So you have to weigh that balance. That's important as well. Okay. Also, you might have an instrument that is your specialty, but learn how to play as many instruments as you can get your hands on, because it helps in your songwriting and it'll help you get more gigs down the road. And if you could learn to sing, singing helps a lot. Now, by no means do I consider myself a good singer, but I can go out and sing a whole night if I have to, which I have done. I've done solo work where I played guitar and sang, and singing helps. So if you're young, or even if you're old, develop your voice, because that will help you a lot in, like, when people are saying, this person plays guitar and is good, but this person plays guitar and sings and is good. They're going to go for that person. So you want as much ammo as you could possibly contribute to any situation you get in. Now, for all you people doing original music and, trying to get that record contract, I encourage you, go for it. But as with anything, you have to be seen. You have to go out and play and build a following, because no matter how good you are, if you're sitting in the basement, nobody's going to know it. So you got to get in there and you got to pay your dues and get your lumps and go out and gig. So that's important as well. And also, if you're doing if you're doing original music. And if anybody wants money from you, they're full of shit. If anybody says, "Oh, give me $1,000 and I'll help you," no, it doesn't work like that. Obviously, if you're going to go to a recording studio, you got to pay the engineer and the studio to do the recording and things of that nature. But if anybody tells you, give me your money and I'll make you a star, that's not the way it works. So avoid that. Use your intuition. You will gain valuable knowledge as you get out there with people. And that's all about I have to say for now. I mean, if I think of anything else, maybe I'll do another video. But I hope this helped you out. I mean, if you're out there and you're feeling alone and you're not sure what to do, well, maybe I could help you. Send me a little message in the video there, the little comment box below, and I'll get back to you. And good luck. Good luck with whatever you do. Stay true to yourself. Go out, be strong, be smart, and live a good and happy life. And that's it for now. Please subscribe, and happy playing. Good luck to you. I'll see you next time.